Now, most people go to a mall shopping, but in Halifax, there is a mall shopping for business. It is a mall that was paid for by Halifax County taxpayers, and some parts of it have been empty for 5 or 6 years. The I-Team's Rick Grant is on the case tonight.
There's plenty of parking here at the Hubbard Square Mall on the edge of the Halifax-Lunenburg County line.
These economic developments and communities are not a waste or not mismanagement.
Is it a gamble?
There is a little bit of risk to it.
Halifax County taxpayers spent $1.3 million to build the mall, but few businesses have been attracted to it, and county officials, staff, and politicians frankly admit the investment has failed to pay off.
I would like it to be more successful, but I think we can't abandon it as it is.
I think the economy, of course, has taken a disadvantageous turn as far as renting out that mall goes.
It's called an incubator mall, but debt is the only thing routinely hatched here each month since the county approved construction in the summer of 1988.
I believe our expenses are $25,000 and we pull in approximately $8,000. I think that's on a yearly basis.
To say this mall has not been a success is to understate the problem. This part of the mall, this particular building, has never been occupied since it was built almost 7 years ago.
Although unoccupied, it's in good shape, and a prospective tenant could divide it to suit whatever business requirements may come up.
And some parts of the mall are terribly underutilized. Units 1 and 2, for example, are serving as nests for a pair of birds. In Unit 1 is a thunderbird, and over here in Unit 2 is a firebird.
But there are legitimate businesses here that appear to be doing well. And there are businesses here just getting off the ground. Dan Fry, whose canoe company employs one other person besides himself, gratefully defends the county's decision to build the mall.
This mall for me, it does a couple things. Number one, it gives me a nice environment to work in. And number two, it gives me a certain amount of exposure that I wouldn't have if I was somewhere else.
Meanwhile, the mall costs Halifax County taxpayers, soon to be Halifax City taxpayers, almost $1,500 a month more in expenses than it collects in rent. Call county officials to rent space here or to buy the mall. In Hubbard's Rick Grant, ATV News.
And still ahead tonight in your ATV Evening News, Steve Wiggle with our Remembrance Day weather forecast. Coming up after casino jobs, will legalized gambling bring jobs or dejection?
Getting $9 an hour is not a decent wage of benefit.
Casinos, jinx or jackpot, next on the ATV Evening News. Nova Scotians have been promised jobs and other economic benefits from casinos in Sydney and Halifax, but just how great will those benefits be? Tonight, in the conclusion of our 4-part investigation, Casinos, Jinx or Jackpot, we add up the economic impact casinos have had in some other communities. In Windsor, Ontario, it's like the Roaring 20s all over again. Back then, Americans came in droves, thirsting for legal liquor. Well, these days, they come to gamble. During the first month the Windsor Casino was in operation, the same-day trips by Americans to Canada increased 53%. That means that Americans came to Canada and then went home on the same day 373,000 times. How often did you come over to Windsor, Ontario, though, before this casino?
Probably about 3 to 4 days a week. I used to come over here on business.
What about now?
Now, I'm over here a little bit more every day.
Oh, I got here yesterday.
Yeah, from where?
Zanesville, Ohio.
So you had a bit of a drive.
Yes, we did.
Brought some money.
Brought some money, and I left it all.
$15? Right over top? 50?
The Ontario government expects the Windsor Casino to clear $100 million by the end of the year. And that's only one of the economic benefits. Well, as a job creation project, the casino has succeeded beyond anybody's wildest dreams. With a payroll of almost 2,000 people, it's the 4th largest employer here in Windsor, Ontario, right behind the big 3 automakers.
You have your dealers, you have your wheelers, if you will, on the roulette table. You have supervisors, pit crew and staff, and money changers, and these types of positions are the numerous positions, and not necessarily the highest paying jobs.
What do they pay?
They pay just a little over minimum wage in many cases, but rely on tips and the generosity of the gamblers.
So these aren't career jobs.
Oh, I think they're stepping stones for a lot of people.
But not just everybody wants the kind of work casinos offer.
I wouldn't work in the casino.
Why not?
Just not interested in that kind of work at all.
Do you sort of object to that kind of work or just not interested in it?
Just really not interested in it. I've seen some of the people that work there and it doesn't interest me at all.
You think it's a pretty good job?
Oh yeah, it's great. A lot of fun. Yeah, everybody has a lot of fun. Players, they like it. All the dealers have fun. No real problems.
How about the money?
Money's good.
Tips
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, they're good sometimes. Sometimes not so bad. Sometimes good.
You figure you need, do you need a union?
Uh,
One thing most of these people don't want to talk about is the effort to unionize their brand new casino.
People want better wages and benefits.
So these aren't good jobs?
Well, any job is a good job. I mean, the thing of it is, though, it's people have a right to representation, and obviously getting $9 an hour is not a decent wage and benefits.
And it goes on day and night. Sherry Cameron, originally from Sydney, is an organizer with the Hotel and Restaurant Employees Union.
I think it's a great way for jobs out in people in Cape Breton and in Nova Scotia. These can be good jobs. Like, they can. And the fact is the unemployment rate's really high down east, and they really need those jobs. And if it's going to create 1,500 jobs, if it's going to create 3,000 jobs, all the power to it.
But the effect on the retail community and tourism is less certain. Windsor merchants complain that casino patrons drive right past their stores. And in Montreal, where the USA isn't just across the river, tourists account for only 7% of the casino's patrons. Now that brings me around to the question of whether the casino by itself will bring people to Montreal.
I think the casino is a wonderful promotion as a tool, as a promotional tool in a city. It's like, I always say, it's like a jewel. If someone is very pretty and has a nice jewel, it's a plus in it. But it is not for the jewel that you're attracted to the person.
And then there's Las Vegas. Now, obviously, a casino is not going to transform Halifax or Sydney or any other city into a gambling mecca like this. But a casino will bring changes, some good and some not so good. Whether that makes the casino a jinx or a jackpot really depends on how well we're prepared to manage those changes. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Delicious, hearty bread, thickly sliced. The kind Gertrude Carnes baked for her family and then for her customers. Now Carnes offers you delicious muesli bread, baked with raisins and sunflower seeds, apples, and apricots. When it comes to taste, Carnes is substantially better bread.
You can tell a lot about a man by his shaver. The man who uses a Braun Flex Control appreciates good looks, has the flexibility to adjust to any situation, and he's not afraid to get close. But the most revealing thing about a man who uses a Braun is how easy it is to spot him.
I believe this is yours.
Braun, the world's most recognized shave.
Cox Radio and TV, where you'll find that important difference. Total in-store service. Get cooking with a Gold Star bread maker for only $199. Fresh homemade bread at the touch of a button. Or choose from a complete line of Gold Star microwave ovens for as low as $99. Or how about a Gold Star portable CD stereo for only $149. Cox Radio and TV, where you'll find total in-store service in St. John, St. Stephen, and Fredericton.
Save $100, $200, $300, up to $500 on a new winter coat. It's happening now. It's at Betty Rubin. It's the biggest and best winter coat sale. At Betty Rubin, you can save $100, $200, $300, up to $500 on the largest selection of new winter coats. Open or use your Betty Rubin charge account. No down payment, no interest until January 95. You save $100, $200, $300, up to $500 on the best winter coats in Canada. It's the biggest and best winter coat sale now at Betty Rubin Champlain Place in Moncton.
Quick look at the St. John drive home tonight, Union Street on to Courtney Bay Causeway. Time now for a quick look at our maritime weather forecast tonight. You know, in my memory, most Remembrance Days are gray, gloomy, cold days, and I guess tomorrow will be likewise.
That's right, Steve. In fact, with the wind chills, with the winds and the temperatures factored in tomorrow, we could see temperatures seem like minus 10 to minus 15 degrees because we will have gusty winds from the northwest. Here's the latest satellite photo. We've got a low still up over Labrador, which is going to push some more cloud and flurries in overnight and tomorrow. You can see it clearly here on the latest satellite photo. Quite a bit of precipitation back to our west. And where the winds blow on shore in Nova Scotia, we could see 5 to 8 centimeters of snow by this time tomorrow night. We've also got another low pressure system back to the south and the east of us. That's not affecting our weather at all, but this other system back to the north, and in fact in the satellite loop, you can see how a lot of cloud has started to push down in the last 24 hours. It will continue to do so, and there's bands of flurries in here, which will push across the Maritimes. Some clearing back to the west, though, and that's our weather maker for Saturday and Sunday. They look like great days right now. So the band of flurries push in during the overnight tonight and tomorrow, and we've got clearing back to the west, and that'll be our weather maker for later in the weekend. High pressure builds in. Warmer temperatures are expected too, but tomorrow will be very cold across the region overnight. So the weather advisory is in effect for the Cape Breton Highlands, northern mainland Nova Scotia, and from Wolfville, Kentville, right down to Yarmouth and back up to Shelburne, where you can see 5 to 8 centimeters of snow. Very blustery out there, and that'll start overnight with the winds from the northwest at 35 kilometers an hour and rather cool temperatures out there, minus 2 up to minus 1. And then tomorrow, the flurries continue. Weather advisory is still in effect, and wind gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour, so very gusty out there. Improvement for Saturday, though, Steve, with some sunshine and warming up for Sunday.
All right, thank you, Steve. Coming up tomorrow night here in your ATV Evening News at 6. Are Maritimers still willing to put the need to remember ahead of their desire to shop? It's an issue for the 90s, and it's here tomorrow on the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock. That is our news for now. For my colleagues on both sides of our cameras, I'm Steve Murphy. Thank you and good night from the ATV News team.
Boy Meets World, tonight at 7:30 on ATV.